we have an opportunity to chart a different way forward, a way that feels exciting, not boring. I want to go to my board meeting. I can see the fruit of my labor. I know people within the organization. I feel connected, and that reciprocity is there. The boards have such an important role to play in not-for-profit organizations. They are essential. And the opportunity to do that really well in a way that supports advocacy and engagement, for me, is really exciting. So I guess, why I would like to see governance reimagined is because anything is possible. And we shouldn't be held back by old notions that no longer serve us. So one of the things that I've also been asked is, okay, fiduciary responsibility, liability, duties, and roles. And I say, okay, yeah, absolutely. You have those. Those haven't changed. Legislation is still there. But that does not mean that you cannot reimagine, that you can't recontextualize, that you can't really shift, right? The way that you do governance inside of an organization. And I think there's really a lot to unpack here in terms of liberation and equity, representation, access, and opportunity. And at the center, those most impacted by the work of the organization should have real power to flex as power within and power within governance. One of the things that's really important to think about, we talk about diversification of the board, and I do see that as important. I think it's necessary, and it's one way within the ecosystem of an organization that you get, diverse voice, experience, which impacts decision making. But there are many other ways to do that. When we think about the board journey and the opportunity to reimagine, it is the reimagining of how communication flows back and forth. It is the reimagining of other committees of the board, or, I think in conversation, I've heard the word brain trust somewhere, but there are lots of different ways that folks most impacted, folks using services, and folks doing the work can really be a part of decision-making, of engagement, of knowledge transfer and exchange, of building capacity, because I think, again, this is a living, organization is a living thing, and the board is one part of that, and holds certain responsibilities. What does the board need to do legislatively that it is a fiduciary responsibility, and what clearly are those other roles or duties? And I think the opportunities are really boundless and quite frankly exciting. And I know I'm a bit of a governance nerd, but very exciting when you think about the kinds of outcomes you are actually seeking from the governance function. How does governance further the organization's impact, from the generative conversation topics at every meeting to real community engagement, knowledge transfer and exchange, systems advocacy, networking. Those are the things, who, how, and what that will really make sure that you are meeting your legislated requirements, that you have good oversight and appropriate oversight, but that you're doing it in a way that is values aligned, and that the representation on the board and who holds power in terms of decision making is well thought out and intentional. And that's, from my perspective, very, very important.